Picture this: a cup of tea in London, a morning coffee in Paris. A simple, sweet pleasure. But in the 17th century, that sweetness had a bitter, brutal origin. It reshaped the world map, fueled the rise of empires, and built a global economic system on the back of one of history's greatest crimes. This is the story of how our world was sweetened by blood. I'm Ibnul Jaif Farabi, and this is Empire Builders, the rise and fall of civilizations. Before sugar, it was a luxury, a spice for the very rich. Then, European empires, especially the British and French, discovered the Caribbean. Islands like Barbados and Saint-Domingue had perfect soil and climate. They saw not just a crop, but a potential economic engine. But sugarcane is a brutally demanding plant. It requires massive amounts of land and backbreaking labor to plant, harvest, and process in sweltering mills before the cane spoils. European indentured servants couldn't withstand the conditions. The solution, chilling in its calculation, was the transatlantic slave trade. This was the ignition of the sugar revolution. It wasn't just farming, it was a factory system born a century before the Industrial Revolution. The plantation was the machine, and it ran on human fuel. This machine demanded a new, horrific architecture of control. The plantation was a self-contained, isolated world designed for maximum output and absolute dominance. Think vast fields of cane, a central mill boiling cane juice day and night, and barracks called slave quarters. It was a colony within a colony, a capitalist enterprise with one goal: profit. The labor was so lethal, from exhaustion, disease, or mill accidents, that plantation owners found it more cost-effective to work people to death and buy new enslaved Africans than to improve conditions. The population numbers tell the story. In Barbados, within a few decades, enslaved Africans outnumbered European settlers by more than 3-to-1. This system didn't just produce sugar, it mass-produced racialized slavery as a permanent, inheritable condition to maintain this fragile, terrified balance of power. And the wealth? It was astronomical. Sugar became white gold. It drove the entire triangular trade, manufactured goods from Europe to Africa, enslaved people from Africa to the Americas, and sugar, rum, and molasses from the Americas back to Europe. Port cities like Bristol and Nantes were built on this sugar wealth. The profits funded insurance companies, banks, and even the early infrastructure of the Industrial Revolution back in Britain. Our modern global economy, with its complex webs of capital, commodity flows, and distant labor, has its roots right here in the plantation ledger. The sweetness on European tables was the direct product of a calculated, industrialized horror an ocean away. It's a stark thing to consider, how deeply embedded these old systems are in our modern world. The logic of the plantation, maximizing output from a cheap, disposable labor force far from the consumer, echoes in ways we might not even see. It set a precedent, and as a storyteller, originally from Bangladesh, a place that later saw its own landscapes transformed by colonial cash crops like indigo and jute, I see these patterns. The sugar revolution wasn't just a chapter in Caribbean history, it was a blueprint. It showed empires how to turn human beings and distant lands into components in a profit machine. It created immense civilizational wealth while committing a moral bankruptcy that the world is still reconciling with. That bitter aftertaste, long after the sugar is gone, is the true legacy of this revolution. It reminds us that the empires we study were built on choices, on a chilling calculus of value, and that the sweetest fortunes often have the most bitter roots. This has been Empire Builders, a production of Light Knot Studios. Find more of our narratives at https://www.lightknotstudios.com.